Hello, I am Tanya Mercer, Decatur Township District Reading Specialist, here to teach your Sonday Level 32, Day 3 lesson for today. On the next slides, the goal is for your child to read each sound out loud. If there is more than one sound for the letters, please give those sounds. Remember to also prompt for the short and the long sounds of the vowels. Short and the long sound. Short and the long sound. Remember, if they make an error, have them trace and look at the keyword. Sorry. Okay, there are two sounds here. The most common, and then the next most common. Two sounds for this as well. And OO usually comes in the middle of the word. At any time that you need to pause the video to give yourself more time, feel free. Short and the long sound. The short and the long sound. Okay, so now we are on the spell sound section of our lesson. I will say a sound, and then you will write the letters that make up that sound in this section right here on your paper. First sound, and you'll repeat after me, okay? I'll say the sound, you repeat, then you repeat and write at the same time. First sound, and that will go right here. Second sound, eh. Repeat, then write. Ing. Then or. Remember to repeat, then write. If the student makes an error, here's a sample of how to correct. So you could say, for example, I see I. I wanted eh. Can you tell me what letter makes the eh sound? Hopefully the students would prompt with the correct answer. If not, then you give it. Okay. E makes the eh sound. If you don't have E for eh, cross out what you have and write it correctly. Now everyone, even those who had it correctly, write it 2 more times for extra practice. Eh. Eh. And that's just a sample of how you'll do an error correction. Error corrections are very critical in Sunday lessons. For my eraser. Okay, now I want you, on the lines that you have left at the bottom, on this section here, I'm going to ask you some questions, and then I want you to write the answer to those questions. Actually, I'm just going to ask you one today. How many ways can you spell long A? Write all the ways that you've learned to spell long A. Okay. I'm going to give you a hint. There should be 4 ways that you know right now. Pause the video so that you can write all 4 of those ways. We're going to review those really quickly. So those 4 ways are A, you can have these on separate lines or together, AY, AI, and a consonant E. Kind of running out of room there. Let's just cross that out and write it down here. A consonant E. Okay, I'm going to erase this because it almost looks like it says apple. So these are the 4 ways that you can spell the long A sound. If you don't have those, write those in now. Okay, now we're going to read some words. I want you to pause the video and take a moment to read all the words in this section. We have a lot of words here. We have a little bit more than we probably would in class, just because we assume that there's more time. Pause the video and read. Okay, and now we're on to the spell sound section. I'm going to review touch spelling. You should kind of have it down by now, but just in case. So if you write with your right hand, you will touch spell with your pinky on your left hand, cat, k, at. If you're left-handed, you'll have your pen in your hand. This is so that you can touch spell and write at the same time. K, at. Okay. And it's good to do the touching instead of doing it in the air. I know a lot of people do it in the air, but it gives another kinesthetic input to the hand. Plus, it could be done without drawing attention to the learner. Okay, so we are on the spell word section. So listen carefully. I'm going to say a word. You will repeat the word. Then you will touch spell the word. And then you're going to write it in this section. And we have a lot of words, so pay attention. Okay, first word, froze. You will repeat froze, touch spell froze, O-Z, O-Z. Now, I only tapped 3 because we only heard 3 sounds, but we know what letters make and then O, Z, and then we have to think about how we make the O sound in a word like that. Okay, next one, took. Repeat, touch spell, then write. I'll model this one, the rest I won't. Took. K. Remember, we just tapped the sounds. We know what letters make the sound. And pause the video. You will need the time to write. Next word, down. Repeat the word, touch spell, then write. Judge. Repeat, touch spell, write. Smarter. Okay, here's a sight word. Been. Where have you been? Some people might pronounce that differently depending on their dialect. Notch. Repeat, touch spell, write. Gripe. repeat, touch spell, write. Sinking, windmill, hedge, lisp. Take a moment to look over the words you've written and see if there are any errors that you can see. Make those corrections now. Now we're going to look over your words. Are these the words that you have written? Check them now. If you made an error, cross it out, don't erase, and write it correctly. Okay. When you're finished with your corrections, pause the video if you need more time. When you're finished with your corrections, I want you to read the words that you wrote out loud, starting with the first word. Pause the video to read these words. Okay, so now we are on the spell words, phrases, and sentences section. If you notice here, we've got caps. This is what we'll check a little bit later. So I will say a sentence. You'll repeat the sentence. You will tap out the sentence, then write the sentence. Okay, so they're getting longer and longer. Here's your first sentence. Have you made a batch of fudge? So repeat the sentence back. Have you made a batch of fudge? And then you're going to tap it out with the same fingers you would use for touch spelling. Have you made a batch of fudge? Okay, so if you have to go back on your hand, you can. So we know that there are 7 words. Have you made a batch of fudge? We know there are 7 words in that sentence. Now pause and take the time to write the sentence with correct capitalization and punctuation. Okay, now the next one. Try to match the paint for that patch. Same thing. You'll repeat, try to match the paint for that patch. Then you're going to tap it out. Try to match the paint for that patch. Now you know there are 8 words in that sentence. Pause the video and give yourself time to write the sentence. When you're finished writing your sentences, I want you to check for C for capitalization, A for accuracy. Do you have the correct number of words? Do you have the correct spacing in between words? P for punctuation. Do you have the correct ending mark? Is it a question? Is it a statement? And S for spelling. Are your words spelled correctly? Check those now. And if you see any errors, make your corrections. Okay, now let's check against these sentences. So look at the words. Do they match what you have written? Do you have the correct capital letter at the beginning? Do you have the correct ending marks? Are your words spelled correctly? If not, don't erase. Just cross it out and write it correctly now. When you are finished with your corrections, read back the sentences you wrote out loud. Very good. Pause the video to give yourself time to do these things. All right, now we're on to our new learning. We are learning a new sound today. So today we are learning OI, okay? And OI says, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have the right picture in here. So let me see if I can fix this really quickly. Oh, I am gonna fix this on the fly because I do not want to record this whole video over again. I'm sorry about this. The only thing I missed, I have the picture changed, but apparently I did not change the wording in here. So I'm going to do this really quickly. Sorry about this. I think it would let me do it. Oh, there we go. Okay, now let's try this again. Sorry about that. Okay, I need to make sure I fix that in my teacher version too. All right, so let's try this again. So OI says oi, as in coin. Can you say oi? Okay, and the rule for oi is oi, comes at the beginning or middle of a word, usually before an N or an L. OY makes the same sound at the end of a word. So now I want you to trace oi, oi, oi 3 times. And the key word for that is coin. Okay? Trace it 3 times while saying the sound. Okay? Now I want you to, in the new materials section on number 5 in the small lines, I want you to write OI, oi, and I want you to write it and say it at the same time on those 3 lines. Oi, oi, oi. So when we hear that sound at the beginning or the middle of a word, we will use OI. When we hear that sound at the end of the word, we would use OY. Okay, now we're going to read some words that have the OI, oi in them. Okay. Notice that most of them in the middle, they do follow that rule with an N or an L at the end. Okay, pause the video and read the words with oi. Okay, now I'm going to read some words. We're going to practice spelling words using the oi, OI for oi. So I will say the word, you will touch spell the word, and then you will write it on the larger lines here in the new materials section below. Okay, I'll model the first one. I won't write the word, but I'll model the touch spelling. Ready? Coin. Repeat coin, coin, and then you're going to touch spell oi. Notice I tap one finger because I know that there are 2 letters that make the oi sound when they're in the middle of a word, when it's in the middle of a word. Okay? You will do that for all of the words. Oh, sorry. Boil. Boil. B-oil. Spoil. Repeat, touch spell, then write. Moist. Repeat, touch spell, write. And pause the video when you need time to write these. Coil. Join. Okay? Take a moment to look over your words. Do they look like they are spelled correctly? If you see any errors, please change those now. Okay, let's read these words or look at these words. If you made an error, cross it out and write it correctly on your paper. Now take a minute and read these words out loud. And now we're on to the read aloud section. Today we're going to work with the EA, the AI, EE, and OA. So we have E, A, E, O. Okay, these are often called vowel pairs as well. So take a minute and read through all of these words. That will be in the story. I'm going to put my cursor up here so that at the bottom doesn't come up. So pause the video and read these words. At the bottom, we have some sight words. We have could and said. Okay, pause it and read those words. Okay, now let me move my face so that I'm not in the way. Okay, pause the video and read these words. Remember to read the words that are in the illustrations, the pictures above as well. Pause the video to read these 2 pages. Pause the video to read these 2. Pause the video to read these. Don't forget to read the words in the illustrations as well. Get myself out of the way a little bit right here. Okay, pause the video to read these 2 pages as well. And that is the end of our Sonday Level 32 Day 3 lesson for today. Thank you and have a great day.